Okay, so my name is Yessi, and growing up, my family has been really, really close. And we would always go to my grandma's house. And growing to grandma's house, like we have like a I have five aunts and five uncles. So like I have a big family. It's like all of our cousins would go to my grandma's house, and we would just love it. And grandma enjoys it so much because if someone's not there, she's really upset. So yeah, and I'm really blessed to have my grandparents here still because they are in their like 80s, and I can tell like they're getting to that point where it's like almost time. And with that being said, like my grandma was diagnosed with dementia like 2 years ago, and the things that she's like the things I noticed that she went through, I can slowly see her like starting to forget about things, how like the things she says, the way she looks, like with dementia, like your appearance changes too because you forget your like memory so much that you like forget when she eats, she forgets she's eating sometimes. And like it's just like she's back to being a kid. And I've had like a little knowledge about it since like it's happened, but like the more I thought I needed to learn a little bit more about it. And I wanted to talk to you guys about like what it is, like how you can help it, how it's more common like elderly people. So like the first thing I want to talk about is like what is dementia? Dementia is a disease that causes memory loss and deterioration in the brain. Every single person who has dementia experiences it differently. So, like my grandma, I don't think she has it as bad as other people do, but then again, she has a really good way of hiding things, and either it progresses really fast or it slowly does it. Like either way, it's not gonna get better. Like once you have it, like your brain's just kind of dying slowly. And with dementia, there's like types of dementia, which there's Alzheimer's, dementia with Lewy bodies, vascular dementia, Parkinson's disease, frontotemporal disease, no, dementia, and mixed dementia. With dementia, the most common one you guys probably have all heard of is like Alzheimer's. And that's the most common everybody gets. And like many people don't survive. They get like 4 to 2 years living with that, which honestly, you probably don't want your family to go through that either way. And there's dementia with Lewy bodies, so that's like the one with like movement. You become like hallucinating. You have sleep disturbances. You can't really do anything on your own. And then there's vascular dementia, which is caused when people have like a stroke. So like after you have a stroke, you have like the dementia comes after that, which is what causes the vascular dementia. And then there's Parkinson's disease. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard this one too. It's similar to like Alzheimer's, but it's when you body can't really do anything for itself. Like you're literally kind of in a wheelchair. And then there's I think that's it. No, frontotemporal dementia, which is the one where like it changes your personality, like your behavior. It's kind of like you're bipolar a little bit, but like you have mood swings all the time. And then the last one's like dementia, mixed dementia, which is a mixture of all of them, which sucks. And with the way my family describes it is like my grandma's back to being a little kid. So like I have to like sometimes I have to help her bathe, or like my uncle helps her bathe, or like sometimes she'll forget she needs to use the bathroom and stuff like that. It's like we have to go back to being like baby steps. And there is a higher chance of her like falling because she can't do things that she used to be able to do on her own. And the doctor basically told my aunt that like her brain's dying, and that all we really can do is just be there for her. And there's like times where grandma will say something, or like what I experience with her is she hallucinates a lot, like to the point where before she's going to bed she'll say like, oh, like I saw you last night like outside my window. I'm like, oh really, grandma? Like I wasn't there, like I was at home. And like she just says stuff like that. Or she'll be like, oh, are you hungry? And then 5 minutes later, oh, are you hungry? But honestly, that one might just be like a grandma thing. And she'll say like she sees like cats running around the neighborhood, or like birds like when it's just like a leaf. But it's stuff, it's like little things like that that I notice. And then she'll like zone out too, to the point where like she doesn't think anybody's in the room anymore. And like when she comes to my house and she's so used to being at her house, she'll get lost if she goes to the bathroom. Like she'll start like yelling like, "Oh my god, where am I? Where am I?" And she like, I think she like knows what's going on because she tells my grandpa like, "Hey, like I know I'm forgetful, like, but like I'm not stupid," and stuff like that. And like she remembers certain things because like when I go to her house, like I go to her house like at least every single day, and she'll be like, "Why didn't you come visit me this day?" And I'm like, "Whoa," like she remembered that. So like I don't think it's as bad as it is, but we don't really know. The doctor just told us that it's just slowly deteriorating. She has the one that's slowly deteriorating, not the rapid one. And then many times with like dementia patients, there isn't much you can do with like the treatment. Like it's kind of bad. Like there's nothing to cure it. Like it's incurable. Like the symptoms you are like you can get medication, you can do things to like help the symptoms not be as bad, but no, there's nothing you can really do. I used to think that like puzzles, crossword puzzles, like reading would help her, and the doctor told my aunt was like, you don't want to do that either because you're gonna rush her brain too much to the point where it's overdoing it for her and it'll make it worse for her. So the thing they recommended us to do is just stay active with her. Try to get her out of the house, try to get her to walk more. And like with each like dementia case, there's like a type of how do I say this? Like the severity of it. And like grandma's in like the moderate like case, like where she's at. So like it's not too bad, but she's getting to the point where it's going to be severe. So like you have stages where it's going to be like not that bad, moderate, severe, and she's in the moderate. And while I was researching too, I found out that like music can help too because when you like listen to music, you obviously think like, oh, like this correlates to that memory, and it helps her like kind of her brain be like, oh, link, 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 and it basically just helps the memories come back. But they also said don't push that one too. It just depends on patient to patient. And so like my grandma, I don't know if it would help her or not. Like we would have to ask like the doctor for that. And then the reason it's so common in other older people is because of the older they get, the brain gets older and the less active you become. So like less of it being active as well. Uh, One thing that my grandma does is just she keeps talking to herself and keeping her company. Like if we are there with her, it's like nothing's happening. But it's when she's like by herself with my grandpa, which my grandpa's not very helpful. He's there watching TV while she's just sitting there. And like he doesn't really talk to her. So like that's when we come in, like we kind of help her like talk and everything like that. And just like keeping her company. Cause I guess like when you are going through that, it's just kind of lonely and you're like not realizing like it's lonely until you think about it. And since like my grandpa's not really paying attention too much to her, it's more, she thinks more about it. So like every time like one of my family members tries to go over just to make her like feel company, and like she knows when people like are trying to like push her to it. Like how do I say this? She knows what she's going through. So like when people are like, "Oh, how are you doing?" Blah blah blah, she is so annoyed of it. She just wants to like have like a normal conversation with somebody. So like when we come over, it's like a normal conversation. And then, which is with any dementia patient, like you want to try to make them as comfortable as possible because you never know really when their brain's gonna give up. Like that's the bad thing about it, is the brain is just gonna give up when it wants to. And with like my grandma, my aunt takes care of her, so this is going back with like caregiving. My family is like very how do I say this? We're really into the Mexican culture, so like we're like really against like nursing homes, hence like why my grandma's still with us. And my aunt takes care of her, and I see like how hard it is on my aunt. Like she'll cry like from time to time just because of how stressful it is. And like it's not just like because she has to deal with it, it's because it's like her mom too, and she sees like her like slowly like losing it, which is kind of sad, but it happens to a lot of old people, which sucks. And the fact that it's incurable too, it's not very helpful. But many times those caregivers go into depression, which is very crazy to me. But like therapy is like very, they're like, it helps them with the depression. And so my grandma was just taking it day by day. So is my family. And she is currently in Mexico enjoying her time with my aunt and uncles. And then dementia is like a disease that causes memory loss and deterioration in the brain. The symptoms and treatment vary from patient to patient. Some of the symptoms will vary from patient to patient too. So like like my grandma, how do I say this? My grandma can't use the bathroom by herself. So like sometimes she has to wear like diapers. That's because her brain doesn't click when she has to go to the bathroom. So she wears diapers, and my mom will constantly ask her like, "Do you have to go to the bathroom? Do you have to go to the bathroom?" And they'll take her. But like with other patients, they'll be like, the other patients will take like a medication to help them like click that brain, like that side of the brain. I don't know what side it is, but it'll click just like that. And then for the caregivers, I already mentioned that. So, oh yeah. And then, yeah, my family's just taking it day by day. And thank you.
Nice, Yessi. That was so good.
Sorry, I kept, both of these pages are up, so I was getting confused.
No, yeah, you did really
Thank you.
My grandpa actually just went into cardiac arrest last night in Mexico. So my whole family's in Mexico right now. He suffered from dementia, and so he's in ICU in Mexicali. But I thought it was kind of funny because you were like, Mexican, like we don't put our families in like, homes or anything. And I'm like, I could totally relate to that. I've had my grandpa living with me since I was like 13 years old.